Good day, my SA viewers. This is Satellite Media. Let us look at this controversy coming from River State. Record that Senator Mbata, after emerging the President General of Ohaneze Igbo, got his people angry with him. A situation that has since made them strip him of all his titles. And we understand that he's from Ikwere, and the people from Ikwere, particularly his community, are saying they are not Igbo. But it's surprising. A situation where you see people, everything about them is Igbo, the language they speak is Igbo, the name of their place is Igbo, their culture is Igbo, and they will come out to say they are not Igbo. Let me bring some perspective to this. Like I told you, I am from Delta State. I am from a Car South local government area of Delta State. I am from Anioma part of Delta State. Of course, the Igbo speaking part of Delta State. But let me quickly say this, that if you find yourself in my place, Agbor to be precise, and you have not visited any part of the southeastern part of the country since your birth, let's say you're up to 20 years, 30 years, you will naturally understand Igbo. And the reason is clear. It's going to show that by providence, they have something in common. And I think this politics are at play, because though we are going to dive into the conversation properly by bringing you some of the controversy, but let me quickly say that as a person, I am from Delta State, and in Delta State, we have what we call the Igbo speaking part of Delta State. Of course, that is the one we call the Anioma, that is Delta North Senatorial District. We understand that even the senator representing Delta North Senatorial District, talking about Senator Ned Nwoku, made it very clear the other day that he's an Igbo man. I'm from that region, and that why I'm making this emphasis is we still have a good number of persons who are from that region who will tell you that they are not Igbo. And you begin to ask yourself, you will see so many facts that point to the fact that the Igbo have something to do with people from Delta part of the country, particularly this Anioma speaking part of the country. And coincidentally, that is the biggest part of the biggest senatorial district in Delta State. Talking about 9 local governments as against 7 and 8 in the other 2 senatorial districts. And this has since got people talking. But let me get into this proper by bringing in I'm going to read from the Vanguard, saying, "We are not Igbo. Rivers group strip Mbata of all titles for emerging Ohaneze president." You go for that to say that the emergence of Senator John Asota Mbata as the President General of Ohaneze Igbo worldwide has caused confusion in Ikwere, the biggest ethnic nationality in Rivers, with Obako Ikwere community stripping the former senator of all chieftaincy titles earlier bestowed on him. Now, if you are looking at the community that is doing this, Obako Ikwere, when they are saying Obako by Igbo meaning, you are talking about people coming together. So even the name they bear in itself is Igbo. So it's quite confusing when someone, everything about him is Igbo. His culture, his language, his tradition, everything about him is Igbo. And you see someone coming out to say he is not an Igbo person. Though I understand that it may be purely politics, because someone like the former governor of that state, talking about Rotimi Amechi, of course, look at the name. He clearly shows you that this is an Igbo name, and he's from Ikwere as well. Have come out clearly to say, yes, I am an Igbo man. So it's surprising when we see this type of division, and it may be difficult to know the exact point, or rather, whoever may be causing this controversy, who may have engineered or motivated those Obako Ikwere community people to take this action that is considered backwardness. But let me quickly say that in River State, you have places like Ikwere, like Obibo, that are clearly Igbo part of the Igbo speaking part of the state. And don't forget that before the country was broken into 36 states, from the inception of this country from independence, we had only 3 regions, talking about the northern region, the western region, and the eastern region. So before the creation of South-South, where could an Ikwere man say he's from? That's the question. The point is, the government in a way have found a way of giving people a different identity. Because if not for the carve and creation of a place like South, I don't think someone from Ikwere will rise one day and say, I'm not an Igbo man. Because the government diplomatically, through political means, ended up in giving them a different identity. Because if you want to trace their origin, they want to trace their historical background, definitely they have everything to do with the Igbos. So it is confusing and it is unthinkable how they could just rise up and start saying they are not Igbo. Let me bring some perspective to this. Like I told you, I am from Delta State. I am from a Car South local government area of Delta State. I am from Anioma part of Delta State. Of course, the Igbo speaking part of Delta State. But let me quickly say this, that if you find yourself in my place, Agbor to be precise, and you have not visited any part of the southeastern part of the country since your birth, let's say you're up to 20 years, 30 years, you will naturally understand Igbo. And the reason is clear. It's going to show that by providence, they have something in common. It's going to show that the language is, because if you find yourself in a place like Onitsha, a place like Enugu, Anambra, and you have not visited that place all your lifetime, and perhaps you are in your 30s, you will naturally understand the language. That goes to tell you that it is not even about what people is telling you. It's not about the culture, or rather the history that has been handed over to you from your maybe parents, ancestors. It's about what can be seen. It's about what can be proven. Now, in my place, you can see names like Chukuma, names like Ifeanyi. Of course, the former governor of Delta State, we understand his name is Dr. Iwkere. I think he himself have equally made it clear that he doesn't deny his Igbo origin. Then you can see names like, yes, there are so many things in that area that point to the fact that you are, even the same name that Rotimi Amechi bears, that Amechi, we equally have it in Delta State, even in my own part of the state. So it is unthinkable when somebody will just wake up and start causing disaffection, try to start fragmenting the people, perhaps because they want some political gain. But for me, I think it is high time people should rise and start resisting such trend, because I don't think it is anything that is giving us any, causing us any good. Let me quickly go back to what we have here, talking about the same Ogbako Ikwere, saying that Ogbako Ikwere Cultural Organization said it would continue to maintain its unique identity and history, separate from others, and as such, would not want to be identified with Igbo ethnic nationality. So it's not about Igbo ethnic nationality and culture. So it's not about saying you don't want to identify with Igbo nationality and culture. It's about genuinely, who are you from? It's about are you from this area? It's not even about what your parents handed over to you in terms of the culture and the history. It's about what can be proven. It's about whether you are actually from this area. Because if you look around, the language you speak is Igbo. Your culture is the same thing with Igbo. I don't think it will be justified to stand on the ground that you were handed down a different culture. Let me even draw another reference from my own part of the world, talking about Delta North, talking about Anioma, and specifically talking about Agbor, to be specific. With the same way you have 4 market days in the southeastern part of the country, talking about maybe Anambra, Enugu, yes, Anambra, Enugu, maybe Ebonyi, and all that. The same thing you have 4 market days in my own part of the country, talking about Nkwo, Eke, Ori, Afo. So you begin to ask, what could have necessitated this cultural, yes, what could have necessitated this way of life, that the same market days you have in the southeastern part of the country is what you have in the outside of the country. The same names you have in the other part of the country, the same names and meaning you have in one part of the country. Culture, you have many similarities. So I think I will leave our viewers to maybe comment on all this on the comment section. But the point is, I think the people themselves should resist all these antics of politicians to infiltrate into the ranks of brothers and sisters to divide them for political gain. I understand that someone like a former governor of that state, who of course we understand is the current FCT minister, made it clear the other time that of course I don't think he wants to identify with Igbo ethnic nationality, but I think he have his right of choice. But the point is, if someone is by culture, by language is Igbo, I don't think it make any sense to start giving yourself a different identity. Like I said earlier on, I think it is the federal government creation of South-South that ended up polarizing this eastern part of the country, other than the Igbos, where they started giving people a different identity other than their ancestral identity. But let us think wise, and let us, irrespective of what the government tried to do, let us use our wisdom to understand that yes, if everything around you show that you are from a particular ethnicity, let us not play politics with it. I must say very big thank you for your time. This is Satellite Media, and I'm Mr. Matthew.